he saw the same crisis, and you know what he said? Led Detroit go bankrupt. Now, sure, Mitt Romney loves our lakes and our trees. He loves our cars so much they even have their own elevator. But the people who design and build and sell those cars, well, in Romney's world, the cars get the elevator and the workers get the shaft.
Former Michigan Governor Jennifer Granholm made a grandstand speech last week at the Democratic National Convention in which some criticized her for her histrionics and others congratulated her on her defense of the bailout of the automobile industry, in which she credited President Obama. Manny Lopez of the Mackinac Center, a think tank in Michigan, differed. What was it in the speech that struck you as well, perhaps insincere or inaccurate, Mr. Lopez?
It's interesting. Governor Granholm has never found a stage that she didn't like to be on, and has never let actual statistics and numbers get in the way of a good performance. And Thursday was perfect. She talked about the auto bailout and how President Obama was basically solely responsible for it. She talked about job numbers that may or may not be true because she used an ambiguous and bogus claim about saved jobs. But never really got to the fact of the matter that whether you agreed with the bailout or not, it started with $17.4 billion that President Bush allocated to the auto industry after Congress refused to act in December of 2008.
Well, the Huffington Post pointing that out as well, even though it agreed with Jennifer Granholm on Obama's part. What else was it that struck you as inaccurate about her speech to the Democrats last week?
Another big point that she made is that President Obama's actions saved 1 million jobs, which again is impossible to prove, but it also assumes if that number is correct, then she and her party were assuming that every job in the auto industry, including Ford and the foreign automakers, every job in the United States would have disappeared as well. Because GM, for example, only employs about 77,000 people in the United States, and Chrysler employed far fewer than that. So at best, between the two companies, we were talking about maybe 150,000 jobs. So to say it saved 1 million jobs is just a number that's been thrown out in thin air, and there's been no proof or no here's where they came from.
Former Governor Granholm is obviously went on the national stage, and she has a television program as well. What's her acceptance among Democrats in the state of Michigan?
Oh, Democrats in the state of Michigan love her. They did when she was here, when the economy was tanking. We had double-digit unemployment for years, 14% and higher. Michigan was the only state in the United States in the past 8 years that had a population that was leaving the state. We had a net population loss. Businesses were fleeing the state, but in her party, they loved her because she applied the same sort of redistributive philosophies that the president has applied.
But can she really? Can the misfortunes of the automobile industry, can they all really be laying at the feet of Jennifer Granholm?
Oh, absolutely not. And they can't be, just like the credit can't be all delivered to President Obama. The auto companies have been bloated and inefficient for decades, and that's due in large part to bad decisions by management, but also bloated labor contracts. So no, the companies have to be responsible for the financial problems that they got themselves into. The governor, no matter who the governor is, can't be responsible for the bad actions of the companies, but they also can't take credit for something that they had very little part in playing.
Well, President Bush perhaps strayed from the Republican mantra of free enterprise when he did bail out the automobile industry. Is this something that Romney could or should follow if the automobile industry should find itself in continued trouble?
Yeah, it's interesting. If Romney were to win and the auto companies were to fall into financial trouble, I don't believe that he would pursue the same track that George Bush pursued. But I will say this, I don't believe that any president, regardless of party, is ever going to want GM or watch GM liquidate. no president, Republican or Democrat, is going to see one of the biggest auto companies in the world go under. As a president, Romney would probably take a different path. He might try and secure funding for them in another way, or he might help them with some government allocations in some fashion or another. But I don't believe he would craft the same sort of a deal that helped the United Auto Workers at the expense of secured creditors that was crafted under the Obama administration.
Now, I understand that some of the non-union pensioners are suing for unfair treatment. What do you think this bodes for the future?
Yeah, the Delphi retirees in particular are being have gotten pennies on the dollar if they've gotten that, and so they've been pursuing this since the bailout happened because they lost significant portions of their pensions, if not all of them, because they weren't part of the UAW, and they fully recognize that, and they're committed to getting some recognition that they deserve the pensions that they were promised. I think that the pension structure that exists it was proven to be inefficient and couldn't be maintained. And I think the Delphi retirees, unfortunately, have a long road to travel, but they're very determined and they've got a good case to be made.
Well, thanks so much. We've been speaking to Manny Lopez of the Mackinac Center, a think tank in Michigan. I'm Martin Barrios reporting for Sparrow Forum. You can find us on our YouTube channel and at sparrowforum.com. Thanks very much, Manny.
You're welcome. Anytime.